Hello and welcome to the Hoopheads podcast. It's Mike Klinzing here with my co-host Jason Suckle, and we are jumping on tonight to talk some NBA. It's been a little slow since last week, but we've had the Cavs win a Summer League championship, and
the Cavs are champions again. Cleveland is the city of champions once again. Wasn't that what Mike Green said in 2000?
Hey, they got the rings. It was legit.
Those are some nice rings. Those were
nice rings. Those were nice rings. They were very nice rings.
Isaiah Mobley, the MVP of the game yesterday.
Can we start with this question? Can I start with this question?
Go ahead.
Will anybody from that Summer League team make a meaningful contribution at some point during the Cavs' real season?
I think everything that I've heard, Mike, and like is an eye test thing, and the first game wasn't a good eye test, and everyone that I've heard any NBA analyst, they say that Emoni Bates could be something. Now, once again, the video I sent you yesterday is a little concerning, but he says that people that are talking to him are Miles Bridges and Ja Morant were two of the first four names he named. That's
not
concerning to me. Those are guys. What?
That is definitely not two guys you would want at the top of your role model list at this point. But
but to be fair, they asked him who do you know or who have you talked to in the past. They didn't. I went back and found the full video and the edited version of it. Just gave him those answers. The questions were, who have you had conversation with in the past? It wasn't like who's taking you under their wing, and then someone
understood
that way. So
gotcha.
It's a little bit of fake news going on. So
yeah, understood.
Anyways, so they seemingly think Emoni Bates could be something. Now, will he be something this year? I don't know. It might be like a work in progress situation. I think Sam Merrill of the three probably has the best chance because he can hit threes in the corner and he can do something. And he was in the league already, so I don't think there's any way Isaiah Mobley contributes to anything more than Evan's big little bro.
We need big guys though.
Yeah, I guess.
If any position of need, big guy is an area that, I'm not sure. I guess we got Damian Jones, right? And you got Niang as a big guy off the bench, but again, he doesn't really play like a big guy. I don't know. I think you can make a case for any of those three guys probably, in all honesty, where you say, okay, look, if Bates is going to shoot the ball from three, I think he shot 41% from three in Summer League. At 6'9", if he can just go out there and be a guy that isn't a complete disaster on defense and can knock down threes, that's a guy that can help.
He had some good blocks in Summer League. Now, once again, these are Summer League players he's playing against, which, listen, don't get me wrong. Summer League players are still really, really good basketball players. Some of these guys will never sniff an NBA roster, but they're still really, really good NBA players and are really good basketball players who are probably all going to play overseas if they don't play in the NBA, right? Or in the G
I would
League.
think, yes, I would think so.
One of the two. These guys aren't like, we're going to show up the Summer League. It's not like you and me just roll out of bed.
Right. No, these are real players. These are real legitimate players. I think the thing with Bates is you can see the ability. Now,
He has flashes.
Right. You can see the ability. You can see his ability to shoot. You can see his size. You can see the way he moves. He's got a good handle. When he wants to pass, he's capable of passing. And he's 19 years old. And yet at the same time, his track record to this point hasn't been one that you would say that he's on a straight and narrow path to superstardom in the NBA. But who knows? He certainly has. There's talent there. Let's put it that way.
Here's the thing. Given his situation and coming into the Cavs situation, he doesn't need to be a superstar.
So can he handle that? That's part of the question, right?
That's the question.
That's what it comes down to. Obviously he doesn't need to be a superstar, but because that's sort of been the way he's been handled his entire career.
Hell, he was on the cover of Sports Illustrated when he was 16, right?
No, I think he was 14 at that point. He was young. So, it's crazy. But I think the thing with him is there is talent. And those are the guys, right, that when they have this pedigree from a young age that people have recognized their talent, a lot of time what happens is that those guys just don't maximize the talent. They don't get to the ceiling of what their talent potentially could be. And instead, they just flame out. And so with Bates, you're looking at it, you can say, I can see the talent if he gets his head on straight where he can contribute. And then on Mobley's side of it, I just think there's a need on this team for backup big, so maybe he plays. And Merrill can shoot. I mean, clearly the guy can knock the ball in the basket from behind the line at any point. The question is, can he do anything else at an NBA level to keep himself on the floor? So if I was betting on any of the three, I would probably bet on Bates, only because of the talent and because the ability to shoot the ball at 6'9" with some athleticism compared to Merrill, who's like 6'2" maybe, and doesn't have the same level of athleticism. Obviously, Merrill in a vacuum is a better shooter, but in the context of an NBA game,
This is
Bates maybe
an NBA game, right?
Correct. I mean, if I was betting, I think you're probably right in that I would say probably none of them are going to make a meaningful contribution this season. But of the three, I guess I would bet on Bates being the guy that maybe gets a look at some point during the season. But who knows? I mean, you have no idea how committed he's going to be to playing defense, or is he going to be able to learn the schemes, or what kind of a guy is he going to be? And you just don't know that until you put the guy in that environment. So we'll see. I mean, you can see the talent. I think when you look at where the Cavs drafted him and the fact that most second-round picks end up not even making it in the league, the talent is definitely there for this guy for him to outperform his draft position for sure after watching him in 5 games of Summer League.
But we can't get caught up in Summer League, though. We've proven that track record. Look at Anthony Bennett.
Correct. Summer League tells us very, very little. I mean, there is to some degree guys who play really, really well in Summer League. Usually they have an NBA career, and guys who are completely dominant usually have a pretty good NBA career, but it's not foolproof. And just because you win a Summer League title and these guys are playing really well doesn't mean that's going to translate to the parent club. So we'll see what happens.
For sure. All right, Mike. So we went a little off the script there, but we're gonna do something. And I mentioned doing this to you, and then you sat there and rattled them off. So we're gonna do it, Mike. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I'm ready.
Okay, I'm gonna hold on. I'm gonna share my screen. We're getting high tech now, Mike.
Okay, let's see.
Can you see the screen? Can you see it?
I don't see anything yet except for your face.
Oh no. That's not good.
Oh, there we go. Now I'm starting to see it. Now I got it.
Got it? Okay, all right.
Okay, I got it.
We're looking for NBA players. Now, I did this already, and I got 7 out of 9. So let's see how you do, okay?
Okay.
NBA player that played for both the Lakers and the Heat.
Shaq.
Oh, you went with that. You didn't even go. All right, I went with LeBron. All right.
Okay.
All right. And a Laker and a Pacer. You can come back. You can come back.
Hold on. I got to just give me a second to think through. A Laker and a Pacer. It should be an easy one, but for some reason nothing's popping into my head. So let's keep moving. I'll come back to that one.
Laker and Pelican.
Brandon Ingram.
Another one I did. You're going obscurity. I like it. All right. I had Anthony Davis in that spot. All right.
Okay.
Golden State and Miami.
Golden State and Miami. All right, skip that one. Let's come back to that one.
Okay, Golden State and Indiana.
Man. Warriors, Pacers. I don't know. I got nothing right now.
Oh man, I thought you were gonna knock this out of the.
Sometimes your brain just isn't there, man. It's just I'm not feeling it tonight. But keep going.
Okay, Golden State and New Orleans Pelicans.
I feel like there's been so little turnover. I mean, I know there has been a lot of turnover in the Warriors roster, but somebody who's played for the Pelicans, Does Chris Paul count?
He has to have played a game.
Yeah, I guess he played for the New Orleans Hornets, not the.
But I'm saying he wouldn't have played for.
Not for the. Oh, he wouldn't have played yet for the Warriors.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. I got nothing.
Oh my gosh, man! I can't believe I did better than this. All right, Hawks and the Heat, or Hawks and the Pacers. Come on.
Once you get off track on these, man, it just all goes.
Okay, all right. So here's who I had, Mike. I'll just tell you who I had. Do you want me to just do that exercise?
Sure, go for it, man. Because I got nothing tonight.
For the Warriors and the Heat, I went somewhat obscure. Andre Iguodala.
Okay, I thought maybe he'd play it. Well, yeah, maybe. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, for the Indiana Pacers and Golden State, I had Chris Mullin.
Okay.
For New Orleans and the Warriors, I had a guy who only played a few games as a Warrior, but he played 2 solid years along Anthony Davis in New Orleans. Mike, big guy, bit of a head case.
JaVale McGee. Oh, DeMarcus Cousins. Okay, yeah.
Okay. Indiana and Atlanta, Jeff Teague.
Okay.
All right. And the Heat and Atlanta one, I struggled with, but for New Orleans and Atlanta, he also played for the Cavaliers and the Boston Celtics and the Lakers. Rajon Rondo.
Okay.
So that's where I got.
All right.
For Los Angeles and Indiana, Wesley Matthews.
Okay.
But the one I could not get was Atlanta and Indiana. Atlanta and the Heat. But
Atlanta and the Heat. Let me think.
Atlanta and the Heat.
Atlanta and the Heat. Does it fact check you if you type something in?
Yeah, I can put something in. Yeah.
Man, let me think. What's Josh Smith never played? Josh Smith never played for the Heat, did he?
I don't think so.
There he is, right there, Josh Smith.
No, the name shows up.
The name shows up. Oh, his picture doesn't show up.
No, yeah, the picture won't show up if it doesn't fit. So I've Googled it, Mike. I've cheated.
Okay.
Cheated now.
All right.
So here's one. Mike Bibby would have worked.
Okay. Mike Bibby. When did Mike Bibby play for Atlanta?
I don't know, but Mike Bibby would have worked. Dwayne Dedman would have worked.
Okay.
Steve Smith would have worked.
Smitty. Should have got Smitty.
Let's see if I can find any other.
I told you my Smitty story, right? I've told that story before, haven't I?
I don't know that story.
You don't know this story?
No.
So this is when I was a freshman. We played against.
Joe Johnson would have worked, by the way.
I was going to guess Joe Johnson, but once I got off track with the Lakers Pacers, I knew it was over.
Solomon Hill.
All right, let's move on.
Okay. Well, tell me your Smitty story. Go ahead.
So this is when I was a freshman. We played Michigan State in the NIT. So there was 2 good stories from this game. So we practiced. We were playing them at the old Cobo Arena, which was where the MAC tournament used to be played before it got moved to Cleveland. It was, I believe, adjacent to the Joe Louis Arena where the Red Wings play in like the Detroit Convention Center. And so we were practicing for that game. And my coach, Coach McDonald, I remember went up to Judd Heathcote, like they were finishing up their pregame walkthrough, and we were just starting ours. And Coach McDonald walked up to Coach Heathcote, and they both stuck their hands out like they were going to shake hands. And Judd Heathcote pulled his hand away and went like this. And Coach McDonald just like stared at him, like completely flabbergasted, like had no idea like what was going on. I remember we were like stretching or shooting around. I still remember like the look on Coach McDonald's face, like trying to figure out like what is this guy what's this guy doing? Heathcote was obviously just trying to, joke around. And Coach McDonald, if you knew him, he didn't really joke around. So I don't know if he didn't get the joke or he didn't appreciate the joke or he just continued to be stone-faced. So that's the first story from that game. And then second story is we obviously everybody knows what Steve Smith, what his pet move was, right? What the move he was known for, right? No, okay. So Steve Smith was known for a little half turn and then come back. So like he might, whatever, he might drive baseline and then do a little half turn and then keep going baseline. So we had a kid on our team, Tony Banks, who was a freshman too, and none of us played very much, and we all checked in like the last minute of the game. And I think Steve Smith was maybe I think he was a sophomore that year, but for some reason he was still in the game. I think we lost that game by 15, 20, something like that. But we were all in the last minute, and Tony got the Steve Smith move at half court, and he fell down, unfortunately for Tony. Smitty got him with the signature half spin and turn. So you got a special alert over there, huh?
Well, it was my
It was an alert that Mike's having a bad night. Don't play any more games with him tonight. He doesn't know what he's talking about tonight. But yeah, so Tony Banks got hit with the Smitty move. So
that's good.
Back in 19, that would have been 1989. 1989. Not that I remember. I mean, I'm sure I did, but not that I remember somebody making me fall down.
Did you break anyone's ankles, Mike?
Not that I recall. That was not my game. I was never a crossover guy. It's funny. I probably had, when I think about my own play, I was much more likely to go between the legs or behind my back than I was to just do a straight crossover on somebody. I just never had a great crossover. So I don't think I ever made anybody fall, at least not to my knowledge. But
not to your knowledge. Has your son
not to my knowledge.
Fall? Has your son ever made anyone
besides himself? No, I don't think so. Probably not. Probably not. So probably not. So he may have broken his toe this past weekend. So his second or third toe is completely swollen and black and blue. He played through it last weekend, and then of course we haven't taken him to the doctor yet, so he's going to play on it this weekend probably.
Well, all they're going to do is they're going to tell him to sit.
Right, exactly. So which isn't going to happen.
He's got a weekend left.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
he's done with AU, right? Then it's done.
Yeah, then we're done. Yeah, then we're done. We're done. So Fort Wayne this weekend, and then it's over. It's hard to believe, man. It's just hard to believe it's all done. So actually, on Thursday night, we're going to talk to Rob Brost. That's one of our topics is AAU basketball from a parent perspective, because I got some thoughts on some different things that I think that
AAU bingo? Should I pull up some old tweets?
Trust me, Cal and I have talked about resurrecting that site numerous times and putting it back together, because there's still a lot of good AAU bingos out there. Let's put it that way. But Brost and I are going to talk, and obviously you can, jump in with some hilarity, but we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that we've learned, not so much from a coaching perspective, not so much from a player perspective, but just things that we've kind of learned along the way trying to do this thing as a parent. So hopefully it'll be at least a semi-interesting conversation. But anyway, so yeah, I don't think Cal's made anybody fall down. Not that I can recall. But
all right, Mike, I need to take a 30-second break.
Go for it, man. I'm playing it live here.
Plug a sponsor or something.
Plug a sponsor. There we go. I'll talk about our two sponsors. We got two great sponsors that have been with us since very close to the beginning. The Dr. Dish shooting machine. Please, if you need a shooting machine, get out and grab a Dr. Dish. Whether you have a commercial facility or you are a school, grab a Dr. Dish. And our other big sponsor that's been with us for a long time, Fast Model. Some of the best coaching software out there. If you're looking for a way to catalog everything that you do, X's and O's wise, there's no better way than to create all that in FastDraw. And when you do that, you're going to get the opportunity to be able to have all that stuff saved and have it on the computer. Really good stuff. And then we also have two other sponsors that haven't been with us quite as long. We have Train, which is brand new from Coach Vlad Moldavenue, and it's an online basketball training platform. You're going to be hearing from Vlad here coming up soon on a podcast episode probably in the next week or so. You'll be hearing from Vlad about what Train can be, both for players, for coaches, as far as a learning tool, but also coaches that want to monetize their knowledge can create some video courses for Train and get paid for creating those courses. And then the last sponsor that we have is the Coaching Portfolio, where if you're looking to apply for a new job and you need some help creating a portfolio that can help you when you go out to try to get your next job and go on your next interview, Coaching Portfolio is a great tool for that. So check out all those sponsors. And Jay, you're back.
Right, great. That was a great ad break, Mike.
It was nice. It worked out well.
Yeah, perfect. And that was totally unplanned. So I give Mike a lot of credit. He was able to do that off the cuff.
That's a little riff. Hey, I couldn't think of any NBA players tonight, but I could riff about our sponsors off the top of my head. So that's pretty good.
All right, perfect. All right, so I know you had some kind of topic you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, sure. So I listened to Zach Lowe. He was talking to, I forget the guy's name from the NBA league. I think it's spelled W-A-S-C-H, Wash maybe. But he talked about a proposal that was brought up by one of his colleagues in the league in regards to the NBA draft. And I just thought it was kind of interesting and thought it'd be kind of fun just to bat it around and think about your opinion. So basically what happens is that all the lottery teams can select whatever player they want to draft. So it doesn't matter if I'm number 1 or I'm number 14. Basically what I do is they have 14 or 20 or X number of buckets set up for every potential player in the draft. Kind of like when you go to like a fundraiser and you get X number of tickets and you got to decide, do I want to get the golf package or do I want to try for the Guardians Loge or I'm going to try to get free gas for a year, and you have to decide where you want to put your tickets. Well, in this case, you get one ticket and you can put that ticket into whichever player's bucket that you want to put it into. And so like, okay, let's take this year. Most teams you think are going to do what?
Wemby.
Right. So you're going to take all your tickets, you're going to put it, and you're going to try to put, whatever. You're going to put your ticket in for Wemby. But let's say you're a team at the back end of the lottery, and you might say, well, hey, everybody's going to try to get Wemby. Maybe I should put my ticket in for Scoot because maybe everybody else is going to go for Wemby. And so then what happens is that, let's say of the 14 lottery teams, let's say 13 teams put their ticket in the Wembanyama bucket. Then you draw one ticket out, so you have a 1 in 13 chance of getting Wembanyama. But that one team who put in a ticket for Scoot, there's nobody else in there, so that team automatically gets Scoot. Now they didn't go on to say, well, what happens to the other 12 teams who they don't draw their name for Wembanyama? I'm assuming that it would go back to like just normal reverse order. But it starts getting into a lot of, interesting conundrums, right? If you're a team of, hey, here we are, we had the 14th best lottery odds, but we can throw our name in the hat for Wembanyama, or maybe we say, hey, nobody's going to go for Brandon Miller because they're all going to try to get Scoot or Wemby, so maybe we put our ticket in for Brandon Miller, and that might be a team that normally would have picked 12th, and now you get the second or third best player in the draft because everybody else was trying to move up to get this one big prize. It's just kind of I thought it was an interesting. I'm not sure.
Here's my take, Mike.
Okay.
I've not listened to the Low. It was on the Low Post. You said, right?
Yeah. This was like a 30-second explanation of it. It was not like they dove into like the mechanics of the whole thing.
I think I like this in theory. However, I think it's very convoluted. And I don't necessarily know in practice if it makes a lot of sense.
No, it probably doesn't, but it eliminates tanking, right? It doesn't matter if you have the worst record or you have the 14th record. Everybody who's in that lottery who didn't make the playoffs gets that one ticket that they can choose to put wherever they want to put that ticket. I just thought it was interesting. It's something that I had never heard before.
It's definitely interesting. I don't know if I buy into it or if. I mean, I think honestly, like. And the same thing on the buy-in, like there was talk. I don't know if it was on Simmons' podcast, which I don't know what I'm going to do for the next 5 weeks without it, by the way.
There you go.
I'm depressed. I'm depressed, Mike. It's like the one podcast I've been regularly listening to all summer, and now he's taking 5 weeks off. Anyways, so I don't know. Like they were saying, like if you win the in-season tournament, you get to have the first pick in the draft. I think
They said they're not doing anything with that, because what they want to try to do, what this guy explained, was that they want the in-season tournament to build to the point where it becomes important. They want to totally disengage it from anything else. So they don't want it to be hinged, because then if it becomes like you get extra wins or you get an extra draft pick, then it becomes something not on its own. Then it's just a stepping stone towards some other goal. And they want this thing to be a standalone. They want it to mean something to the players.
Here's what I'm going to propose, Mike. I think it's interesting thought.
Okay.
Because this has not been talked about. But that championship game is considered an extra game, correct? So there are teams that are going to play 83 games in the season, because that tournament championship game is going to be an 83rd game. I believe that's what I've read/heard. Okay. So here's my question. Does that 83rd game count towards a record? Because what happens at the end of the season, if we have a two-way tie between a team that played 83 games and a team that played 82 games, does that 83rd game factor into the record? Because maybe I'm that team that got to the championship game and I lost, and now I'm going to get screwed because my record is the same as another team, but I had an 83rd game that I shouldn't have had on my
I think they're not counting. I don't think there's going to be any extra. Every team is going to end up with 82 games, and whether that means that the championship game doesn't count, I don't know. We should probably research that a little bit more, but I don't think there's going to be any teams that end up with an 83-game regular season. That was a big point that this guy was making to Zach, was that we don't want to have where, because they talked about, well, maybe in the first round, if you win, that's worth 1 win, and a second round win is worth 2 wins, and a third round win is worth 3 wins. And he said we didn't want to end up with the situation where one team had 88 regular season quote games and another team ended up with only 82, because then it's hard to figure out the standings and who's this and who's that. So he made it a big point that they didn't want to go above the 82 games. So
okay, here we go. I Googled it, Mike.
Okay.
All in-season tournament games will count towards regular season standings except the championship game. So there you go.
There you go.
The championship game will be an 83rd game, but will not count in the standings.
So those other, on the nights of the semifinals and quarterfinals, other teams, now they may not be playing on those nights, but teams will have to play those additional games. Can't be part of the original schedule, right? Those games will have to be.
No. Those games. So here's how I think they're going to handle it. Although I think none of those games count towards the regular season. No,
in the tournament.
Every team will still play an 82-game regular season. All in-season tournaments will count toward the regular season standings except the championship.
Okay, so then, all right. So then, what I'm saying is, in the round of 8 and the round of 4, the other teams in the league that didn't make it to that final 8 have to play either 2 or 1 additional games somewhere in the regular season, and you're not going to know who those teams are until you figure out who qualifies for the in-season tournament.
But the other thing you have to remember is they're gonna schedule it out where one thing that, because I haven't looked at the schedule yet. They haven't released the schedule yet, right?
I don't think so.
What I'm gonna guess they're gonna do is they're gonna manage this is how they're gonna manage it. All the teams they could possibly play in, because it's going to be an Eastern Conference and a Western Conference thing, they're not going to play all their games early in the season against a specific team. They're going to save it. That way, when they get to the tournaments, I just don't know how they're doing this. This is boggling my mind.
There's probably a simple way to make sure that you leave open teams that are going to play other teams. You leave open a date, whatever, that you're going to play on this night. You're going to play this game. They're obviously, you have to put a lot of thought into it, but yeah, I think the most important thing to understand is that it's still going to be an 82 game regular season, and teams that make it into the round of 8 and then the semifinal round, they're going to, in essence, have played 2 of their regular season games as part of the in-season tournament bracket, whereas the other teams.
There are 2 games. So I should just look at this before I talked about it. There are 2 games that are labeled on each team's schedule in the second half of the season as TBD. And those
there you go.
TBD games are going to be the games that's going to help them decide who.
Right, which is what. Yeah, for sure, which is kind of what I was saying. Yeah, that they'll have those open dates or whatever. So that makes sense.
So every team will play 2 regular season games during the week of December 4th. The 22 teams that do not qualify for the knockout rounds will play 2 regular season games during the tournament off nights that week, December 6th and 8th. The 4 teams that lose in the quarterfinals will play a regular season game. Here you go.
So those games are going to be played in between the tournament nights?
Yes. Yes.
So they're not in the second. That's not the second half of the season.
Not the second half of the season.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So
yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it makes sense that that's how they're. It makes sense that that's how they're going to do it.
I wonder how much a ticket is to go to the in-season tournament. Like, it's in Las Vegas.
You're already looking it up.
I'm trying to figure that out.
Okay.
It's in Las
I would think it's probably a pretty pricey seat at this point.
Yeah, I can't find it right now. It's not available.
I would bet it would probably be pricey initially, and then depending on which teams make it, you might be able to get in there for at least in the first year or 2. I still am dubious that anybody's going to care about this thing in any real way, that the players are going to care. Like we talked about last week, you and I are going to watch it, but I don't know that if the Cavs were in it, for example, and the Cavs lost in the semifinals, I'd be disappointed, but I'm not sure I'd be that much more disappointed than I would be watching them lose a regular season game. So we'll see. We'll see if the players buy. I mean, you got to get the players to buy in first.
I'll be honest, Mike, the prices are not as ridiculous as I would have thought. So I'm on SeatGeek app.
Okay.
The West tournament game, the in-season West semifinal is $140 a ticket for a ticket.
Okay.
Which, to me, it's expensive, but it's not as ridiculous as it could have been.
Yeah.
The East in-season tournament is $133.
Okay.
And the championship game is $128.
Okay. Interesting. I mean, I guess it depends on.
Fly out Saturday, December 8th, and go to the game.
I'd love to. Let's do it, man. Good luck with that.
Tell the wife that it's a podcast thing.
That's it. We could. Hey, we should. Eventually, we got to start making some road trips. I guess you got to stop having kids.
I'm done. So
okay. All right. Good work. So another 10 years, man, you'll be free to travel.
Friday, leave Friday, come back on Sunday.
All right.
Dude, we could get in a lot of trouble.
I like it, man. I like it. I
don't know. But would that be in the? Would you have to miss one of Cal's games? Probably. Is that a problem?
Could be. I mean, I don't know. I guess his schedule's probably out. I haven't even looked at it, to be honest with you. We're going to the Hoosier Gym, right? I tell you that.
Oh no, you didn't.
And they were going to play. We're playing Berea and Rocky River, I believe, at the Hoosier Gym, which I heard is like half the size of a regular court. So it should be interesting.
Yeah. All right. I don't know. Do we have anything else to talk about, Mike? We're really.
There's not a whole lot going on, right? I guess. Do you want to talk about the controversial Embiid quote that he wants to win a title in Philly or somewhere else?
Oh, come on.
Yeah. Who cares about that? I agree. I mean, nothing's happening with Dame. Nothing's happening with Harden. I haven't even heard any rumors of things happening with those two guys. And really, I think until that happens, there's not a whole lot else really to talk about because things are kind of, at this point, status quo. We're still waiting for Jaylen Brown to sign his max extension. Otherwise, I don't think there's a whole lot of business out there that needs to be conducted in the league. It's pretty much waiting on those two guards and waiting to see if Jaylen Brown's going to sign that extension and if and when he does, what it looks like. So we'll see. But yeah, I don't think there's not a whole lot else to hit on.
$300 round trip. Spirit
All right.
Airlines?
Start working on it, man. I got miles from the business credit card. Head Start Basketball could take us out there probably. Start planning. Start greasing the wheels, man.
I'd say, Molly.
Start getting the tea leaves
Mike
warmed
and I were
up.
talking about going to Las Vegas to watch the in-season tournament championship game. What do you think about this? Here are the dates. Leave Friday, December 8th. And we leave Friday, December 8th. Come back Sunday.
Hey, what if we make it a family affair? Let's bring everybody out there.
No. That's not going to be an enjoyable experience, Mike.
Okay. All right. I understand. Traveling with kids your age, no thanks. No, thank you. No, thank you.
Mike and I want to do this as a podcast thing. We want to be able to report on the ground for the first ever in-season championship game.
All right, well, let's think about it. I'll start laying some groundwork. I'll see what I can do, man. I'll see what I can do.
Molly, Mike approached you with this idea.
There you go. Yeah. Jason came up with this great idea.
And then they'll send messages back and forth. Whose idea was this? Well, Jason said it was Mike. Well, Mike said it was Jason.
I say somebody from the NBA office asked us, "Hey, you guys want to come out? We're trying to drum up interest for this thing. It's brand new. We want to have the hoop heads there."
We got millions of listeners, so
that's it.
Reach out to us.
There it is. All right, let's leave it there. I don't think there's a whole lot else to talk about. We appreciate everyone jumping on and joining us tonight. As always, it's a lot of fun to get on here and talk NBA. Keep listening to our regular episodes. Got a lot of good ones coming up, and we look forward to the next time we get together, which we may or may not record an NBA episode next week. I'm going to be on vacation, so I'm going to see if I can sneak away, and if anything big happens, we may jump on, but there's also the potential we may miss next week. So either way, we'll be back with our interview episodes with their normal Thursday night release, and then next Sunday. So we will catch you then, and thanks for listening tonight, and we'll catch you on our next episode. Thanks.